This is Qtv News. I am Maria Masane and thanks for joining us. Now the main local, international and sports news headlines. President Barrow promises presidential elections will go ahead in 2021 despite the COVID-19 pandemic. And we hear proposals for a national youth service. On Saturday, the Gambia joined the rest of the world to celebrate International Coastal Cleanup Day. We will hear from two separate volunteer advocate groups and what they did on the day. The Gambia Prison Service on Friday received personal protective equipment to help protect inmates against the coronavirus. In international news, the European Parliament has suspended Nobel Peace Prize winner and Myanmar's leader Aung San Suu Kyi from the group of former winners of its awards. In sports news, following the footsteps of the English FA and the Brazilian Football Federation, the Sierra Leone Football Association has given equal pay to women in the national team in line with their male counterparts. Now the local news in detail. President Barrow promises presidential elections scheduled for 2021 will go ahead despite the COVID-19 pandemic. As he delivered State of the Nation address last Thursday, as Alucise reports, the Gambian leader also announced the suspension of the planned drilling exploration by FAR Petronas.
I assure all Gambians that my government is determined that the general elections will be conducted in 2021 as scheduled. My conviction is that whatever our position or belief may be, we should always concede to the national interest and forgo selfishness. On behalf of the entire nation, I thank all civil and public servants, the security service personnel, all commission members, friendly nation development partners, organizations, groups and individuals, both within the country and outside, as well as all Gambians for their contribution to our successes during the past year. We are in no less measure grateful to all those who continue to support us, especially in sustaining our fight against the coronavirus.
On other matters, he said the Ministry of Trade and Employment has now completed the review of the Labour Act 2007 and a draft bill developed which will strengthen industrial relations by ensuring the efficient functioning of the labour market. On agriculture, a bill on plant health protection has been initiated to support the establishment of a modern plant protection organization.
I will seize this opportunity to stress that recent land ownership conflicts stirred by individual interests have been noted by my government. Having inherited most of them, I reassure those affected that my government is working to ensure that the rule of law and justice prevail. The ultimate goal is to sustain peace so that we can focus on development and live together peacefully.
The President revealed plans to introduce a compulsory national youth service targeting fresh university graduates to be implemented this year. Also, the Youth and Sports Development Fund will be launched and the program implementation will begin whenever the threat of the pandemic subsides.
Petroleum and energy, Madam Speaker. The uncertainty caused by COVID-19 pandemic has led to the suspension of the planned drilling exploration by FAR Petronas. Hence, drilling has been rescheduled from end of the year 2020 to 2021. Similarly, British Petroleum's drilling activities will commence in 2021. Due to low demand, the prices of petroleum products have fallen. To mitigate the anticipated impact, my government has ensured that both heavy and light fuel will be made available countrywide.
He told the audience the government remains committed to its promise and desire of upholding good governance, democracy, the rule of law and respect for human rights. With regards to recent debates about the rights of people with different sexual orientations, President Barrow emphasized that his government's partnership with development partners is based purely on mutual respect for the advancement of the people of this country. Reporting for Qtv News, I am Alucise.
On Saturday, the Gambia joined the rest of the world to celebrate International Coastal Cleanup Day. The aim is to protect marine life and prevent harm to water quality in our coastal lines. Babu Karsi reports.
The International Coastal Cleanup began more than 30 years ago when communities rallied together with the common goal of collecting and documenting the trash littering their coastline. The theme for this year's commemoration is Fighting for Trash-Free Seas. Commemorating the day, the Gambia Ozone Heroes, supported by the Turkish Embassy in Banjul through TICA, the Gambia Tourism Board, Gunjur youths, among others, conducted a cleaning exercise along the Kololi Beach and other areas in the country. Tolga Bemak is the Turkish ambassador to the Gambia. He explains the importance of keeping the environment clean, especially our beaches.
Environment is a heritage from our past generations, from our grandfathers, grandmothers, and we should keep it as it is, and we should maintain it for our future generations. And today's activity is very important because the coastal protection is very important, especially in this part of Africa, because it's a smiling coast of Africa. It's very important for tourism sector. Gambia is one of the prominent countries in Africa, especially in the tourism field, and we should consider this coastal area as our bread basket. It's a bread basket of the Gambia because many people are earning their salaries, their profits from the tourism sector.
Mohamed Haidara is the coordinator of the Gambia Ozone Heroes, and according to him, members of his organization are across the country in different regions cleaning up places.
Waste pollution is challenging in our country and at the nation at wide. So International Coastal Cleanup Day is a very important day that gives us the opportunity to gather volunteers from all parts of the country to volunteer to make sure that we keep our country safe and protected, to join the world international body that is commemorating this International Day. Because we all know the Gambia only resource is the River Gambia. So we Gambia Ozone Heroes are so much concerned about the pollution that is happening along the River Gambia. We have other partners that are in Birikama, that are in Gunjur, Kartong, Fas, Banjul, Kanifing at the moment, Banjul, and we also have others that are in Sanyang. And even Tanje, we have that are there right now. So this is just something that is very significant because this shows like the partnership, we have been achieving the partnership, which is part of the Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations.
Olimata Tal is among the volunteers. She used the opportunity to call on Gambians, particularly those who use the beach frequently, to avoid littering and make good use of our beaches.
If you have plastics and you're having a beach party, because Sani Sipir Gitchbi, Kerok Magidem Sipena, get together by the beach, and somebody just took a aluminum can, Coca-Cola can, Mudugo correct, Sani Kosi River Beach. So just be very, very mindful of what you throw in the water, plastics, you driving in the car, you eating something, this is what I mean about your civic responsibility. There's certain things, bulen kodef. It's just that simple.
Coastal Cleanup Day was initiated in 1986 by two individuals. Over the years, it has grown to become an international event celebrated by millions of people in more than 100 countries. United Nations statistics shows that 800 marine life species are affected worldwide by marine debris, with 80% of this littering being plastic. It is estimated that 13 million metric tons of plastic finds its way into the ozone every year. The lives of the marine species are put in peril by consumers when they litter beaches and never clean them up. Babakar C, QTV News.
The Gambia Red Cross Society, in collaboration with the International Committee of the Red Cross, on Friday presented personal protective equipment to the Gambian Prison Service to help protect inmates against the coronavirus. More in this report.
The materials presented include thermometers, face shields, rubber boots, disposable overalls, safety goggles, surgical masks, bales of mosquito net, blankets, disinfectants, bed sheets, among others. At the presentation ceremony, the Secretary General of the Gambia Red Cross Society, Alassane Senghor, says the Red Cross seeks to alleviate human suffering wherever and whenever necessary, and explain the reasons for their donation.
We have reached a point in the Gambia Red Cross where we needed to have an extra support in terms of looking at what we have been doing, but also moving forward to strengthen what we've done, but also look beyond COVID in terms of building resilience And resilience here is not only about the communities, community resilience, but also the capacity of the institutions. Knowing the challenges of the prisons, we have decided to include some other things that the prison services really need at this point in time.
Receiving the donated items, the Director General of the Gambia Prison Service, Ansumana Mane, expresses delight and explained how the equipment will benefit the prison service.
It will be helpful in both sides. It will assist the officers and also the inmates, because in the Gambia Prison Service, when you talk about Gambia Prison Service, you talk about the officers and the inmates. So presently, our officers, some of them were selected as frontliners, working with inmates who have already been infected with this COVID. And without having these materials, definitely they are also vulnerable to the COVID-19. So having this, I think, definitely to at least defeat COVID in our prisons. We are also appealing from the Gambia Red Cross Society and other organizations to periodically visit the prisons in order to fumigate, not even because of COVID, but in order to fight other diseases that might be within the prisons. So my appeal will be, let them continue assisting the Gambia Prison Service in our quest to make the Gambia Prison Service a place where it's habitable for every human being.
The TRRC has had testimony of the appalling conditions in our prisons and the inhuman treatment of inmates during the Jammeh's rule. As the country moves from that era, it is expected that the rights of prisoners will now be respected in accordance with the international conventions. For now, though, these personal protective equipments are expected to help prevent the spread of COVID-19 in our prisons if the WHO preventive guidelines are followed. For QTV News, Lamin Alaifandindavo.
We will go for a short commercial break, and when we come back, the news continues with more local news. Do stay tuned. Welcome back. The Minister of Information and Communication Infrastructure on Friday held the 7th weekly interministerial press conference to update the media on the various ministries and issues affecting the country. Amupri Jalo reports.
At the weekly press briefing held virtually, the Minister for Information and Communication Infrastructure, Ibrahima Silla, informed journalists that the Ministry of Agriculture recently distributed farming equipment and grains or seeds for farmers in 166 villages across the country. Minister Silla adds that the Ministry of Agriculture, through the NEMA project, supported farmers throughout the country with assorted vegetable seeds to start wet and dry season productions. Minister Silla also says the constructions and rehabilitation of 6 mixed farming centers in Pirang, Jinoy, Dankunku, Mankamankunda, Kuntaurfulakunda and Ngen Sanjal are almost completed, adding that these will be integrated centers of research, development and production for both crops and livestock. About his ministry, Silla said Moishi is finalizing efforts with Google, one of the world's biggest information technology giants, to implement a digital address map for the Gambia.
This solution will lay the foundation for the following services in the Gambia. 1. ICT and telecommunication services. 2. Location-based services, which includes transportation, navigation, localization, monitoring and tracking of objects and properties, including land management. 3, support the introduction of interconnected intelligent transportation services. 4, enhance the realization of establishing smart tourism, smart cities, smart homes, smart building services, which are all interconnected through digital mapping. 5, transform the agriculture sector using smart and precision-driven technologies. 6, enhance the monitoring and management of environment and marine resources. 7, introduction of industrial automation in the Gambia. And 8, enhance the introduction of smart electricity grid services amongst a host of services.
On the Personal Management Office, the Information Minister said the PMO has drafted a new government policy for ministries, agencies and departments called Performance Management System, PMS, which is currently under review by the Public Service Commission. The system will be used to improve performance of the civil service by focusing on key areas of activity.
The development and implementation of the performance management system aims at optimizing results for development-based planning that would help to improve fair and national decision-making processes for an enhanced service delivery. It will further strengthen discipline and accountability within the civil service.
As part of efforts to minimize the impact of COVID-19 pandemic on the civil service, Silla said the Personal Management Office has come up with an emergency personal loan for civil servants under the Civil Service Revolving Loan Scheme. The loan is a support package to civil servants to lessen the associated burdens of COVID-19. Reporting for QTV News, I am Omar P. Jallo.
CityLink Banjul Ostend team in collaboration with West African Bird Study Association WAPSO on Saturday embarked on a mangrove planting exercise to mark World Coastal Cleanup Day. Ajibintu Drama reports.
They are picking up used plastic and litters in the streets and planting mangroves along the swamps and beaches to ensure a healthy, clean and erosion-free environment and restore the damaged ecosystem to fight climate change. These youths routinely engage in this activity to promote an eco-friendly Banjul. During the exercise, the Executive Director of West African Bird Study Association, WAPSA, Lamin Jabate says the exercise is important as it will address many environmental hazards. He thanked partners and youth for their participation.
Look at Banjul eco zones. We have the beach side, we have the lagoons and the inner city. So as far as this European Union funding is concerned, WAPSA as an environmental NGO, we are tasked to do some restoration around areas where there are diebacks. As I mentioned earlier, mangroves do a lot of protection. It can protect the city from major environmental catastrophe. So that's why we are here today. This lagoon you see is very vital as far as Banjul is concerned, because the moment this area is gone in terms of erosion, it can also impact on the city. So we are trying to plant trees here as a way of a natural defensive mechanism to protect Banjul, and then also the planting will also mitigate the climate change.
Omar Toure, the Deputy Mayor of Banjul, says the exercise is meant to fight climate change. He adds that more projects are in the pipeline in ensuring a more conducive and cleaner city.
The project rectifies a lot of things. Waste management is part of it, and greening Banjul. And greening Banjul is what you are just asking me now. We will maintain the trees and we cut the grass after the raining season, because you see a lot of grasses are here is green, fine, but a lot of them are not in use, and we don't need them at the end of the day. But we maintain the grass, we will maintain the trees to green Banjul, and we are on that project too.
During the exercise, rubbish and rotten fish scales were found dumped along the highway, close to the swamps and sea. Hassan Maxwell, a member of Ocean Heroes, described the action as appalling, unhealthy and irresponsible. He adds that it takes collective effort to achieve the objective of keeping Banjul and the coastal areas clean.
In my own opinion, the main thing is everything has to start with ourselves. We, the people, have to take responsibility. Example, for me, I say that, yeah, anytime I buy a plastic bag of water, I will not dump it on the street. I will rather I will put it in a can or in a dustbin, which we know that they will not come to in the sea in the ocean. Because when you dump it on the street, it will surely come back to the ocean. And let's try to make our city healthy and clean and be one of the most healthiest city in the world. And I believe that if we try, we can make it. But if we don't try, it will be hard for us. Yeah.
The Earth's waters are at risk, contaminated with tons of plastic and trash. This is a threat to humans, wildlife, marine life, and the livelihood of ocean workers. Coastal Cleaning Day was established by the Ocean Conservancy, an organization that works to help protect the ocean from the challenges it faces and also protect the waters, as it might create an unprecedented damage if speedy actions are not taken. Ajibintu Drame, QTV News.
45 Gambians deported from the USA 2 years ago opened a shop on Thursday called Nduga on Wheels. The project, which is supported by the International Organization for Migration, helps support returnees reintegrate into society and engage in meaningful development. Babakar C. has more.
2 years ago, these people were deported from the United States of America. Some were chained and handcuffed while being flown back. At least one of them committed suicide, whilst others have had mental issues to deal with due to the stress and trauma they went through. Upon returning home, most of them found life very difficult. Some are homeless, penniless, and jobless. After forming an association called Faces Empowerment Movement, they claim that they have knocked on many doors for support, but to no avail. Finally, they are realizing their dreams thanks to the IOM, who supported them to launch a shop called Nduga on Wheels. The pilot project launched in Banjul seeks to support some of them to start from something, with the hope of opening more shops across the country. Now that they have a shop selling vegetables and other consumables, what is next for these returnees? Mohamed Njai is the CEO of Faces Empowerment Movement and told us that the journey has been long, but finally they are realizing their dreams.
The support has been lacking with regards to, we've tried all government agencies and it was difficult. And we've tried some of the civilian populace, it was difficult, but now definitely, alhamdulillah, the support came through IOM.
Mohamed Njai went on to explain the plans the association is working on to help future returnees, saying being a deportee is not the end of one's life.
We had members that was having mental issues, health issues, and we also have members that had difficulties of financing their own livelihoods, whether it's home, whether it's taking care of their children. And we had some, recently they're not even a member, but a deportee came back, and a few months back we heard somebody took their own life because of the stress of deportation. So it's a very serious issue, and we want to champion that issue, and IOM has been a partner in that avenue. Once you arrive on the ground, it's very difficult because you lose all hope. And when you turn to most family members, they're struggling too and cannot assist you. And the government, they have a lot of issues going on. They cannot focus, let alone focus on helping the deportees. So what I would advise them is, upon arriving, first contact us, the Faces Empowerment Movement, and with our experience on the ground, we would help you realign your life.
Maimuna Jabi, the lead project manager, says the project will not only help the returnees reintegrate, but also to help the society to access better market products.
We hope that this project gets more successful, and also there's more expansion. So that way there will be more employment being created, not only for the returnees, but for the community members. Like you can see, all of our staffs here are from Banjul here. We even have the delivery guy. So now they've gotten the support, so they need, we need more encouragement from everyone, and we could say that Banjul has been exemplary, and we hope when the expansion comes, the stereotype and the discrimination will end. And the returnees have also proven that they are true sons and daughters of this country, and then they can also do, they have potentials, and they can also do very beneficial stuff in this country without being abroad.
The organization is hoping to open more branches in the near future in different parts of the country, and are still looking for more support to be able to help its members. Babukar C, QTV News.
We will take another short commercial break and we continue with sports and international news when we return. Welcome back. If you're just tuning in, this is QTV News. Now for some more international news. The European Parliament has suspended Nobel Peace Prize winner and Myanmar's leader Aung San Suu Kyi from the group of former winners of its top human rights prize, which she won in 1990. Amar Pijalo has the rest of that story.
Aung San Suu Kyi is suspended from Sakharov Prize community because of what is described as her failure to act and her acceptance of the oppression of the Rohingya Muslim ethnic group in Myanmar. A long-time political prisoner before she came to power, Suu Kyi was once admired by many for her non-violent struggle against Myanmar's military rule and honored around the world as champion of freedom. In recent years, she has been rejected internationally and received harsh criticism over her complicity in the Rohingya genocide. More than 700,000 of the ethnic Rohingya minority members fled to neighboring Bangladesh after a violent crackdown on them in 2017 by the Myanmar military. Myanmar's election campaign began this week with Suu Kyi's party hoping to build on its 2015 victory and secure its role as a counterweight to the still powerful military establishment. But the refugees has been marginalized, and most of the 600,000 Rohingya still in Myanmar have been stripped of citizenship and rights, despite pressures from Suu Kyi's former international admirers. The case at the International Court of Justice was filed by the Gambia for Myanmar's alleged failures in its obligation to prevent and punish the crime of genocide on the Rohingya Muslims. At the court, Suu Kyi defended the military that once kept her locked up, urging that her country was capable of investigating any allegation of abuse and warned that the case could reignite the crisis. Backed by the OIC and several international lawyers, the Gambia has requested the World Court to enforce provisional measures orders, which can increase pressure on the Security Council to take action in Myanmar through a resolution to address indicators of genocide intent. The Gambia's then Attorney General Batambedu was the state agent of the Gambia appearing before the court. Suu Kyi's loss of her Sakharov Prize privileges is largely symbolic. She is already a pirate in world capitals, especially after she traveled to the International Court of Justice in The Hague to rebut allegations against her country. One British newspaper accused her of defending the indefensible. Reporting for QTV News, I am Omar P. Jallo.
In sports news, the government of Sierra Leone and the Football Association have followed the footsteps of the English FA and the Brazilian Football Federation to give equal pay to women in Sierra Leone national team like their male counterparts. In doing so, they became the first African nation to take such a step.
The Sierra Leone government made the commitment to make equal pay for male and female players on the senior national teams, which covers appearance fees and winning bonuses. Rasidatu Kamara, a player of the female national team, says she can now achieve her dream of getting a college degree following a pay boost. I didn't believe when I received it. It was indeed unbelievable and life-changing, she told BBC Sport Africa. She also thanks the Football Federation and the government. Her sentiments were also echoed by Marta Conte, the captain of Sierra Queens, during the WAFU tournament. The new measures have even been backdated for the women's team, who have been paid $2,000 each for participating in this year's Maiden West African Football Union Zone A tournament on home soil. Sports Minister Ibrahim Nyelenke says his government's decision to harmonize payment for senior national teams is to give equal treatment to all and improve the women's game. For now, the policy is only for the two senior national teams. The Sierra Leone women's team will now be hoping that they can continue to play regular international football. On hearing this news, female players in the Gambia will be hoping that they will have the same opportunity as their counterparts in Sierra Leone, Brazil and England. In May of this year, a judge dismissed a case brought by the USA women's team for equal pay. In dismissing the case, the judge said that due to their successes in World Cups, they had actually earned more than their male counterparts. Ansumane Sonyasi for Qtv News.
Before we end this bulletin, let's take a quick look at our main stories. President Barrow promises presidential elections in 2021 will go ahead despite the COVID-19 pandemic, and we heard proposals for a national youth service. On Saturday, the Gambia joined the rest of the world to celebrate International Coastal Cleanup Day. We heard two separate volunteer groups and what they did on the day. The Gambian Prison Service on Friday received a personal protective equipment to help protect inmates against the coronavirus. In international news, the European Parliament has suspended Nobel Peace Prize winner and Myanmar's leader Aung San Suu Kyi from the group of former winners of its awards. In sports news, following the footsteps of the English FA and the Brazilian Football Federation, the Sierra Leone Football Association has given equal pay to women in the national team in line with their male counterparts. That's all we have for you in this edition of the QTV News. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.